Now, welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. NWA territories, of course, is a big part of what we do on this channel. First things first, I will say, conspicuous by her absence, my usual co-host for NWA, Fiona Lochran, is slightly busy with the excellence of execution. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Bret Hart as part of their Inside the Ropes tour, so she will be back with us, funnily enough, on Thursday, in which our guest at this time has a Route 66 championship match over at one of the NWA promotions in Duke City. It's in NWA New Mexico against Brian Idol. It is Manny Lemons. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thanks, my brother. You know why we're here, baby boy. Best of the best. You know the rest. It's your boy, the man, the brand, the king of the lemonade stand live from Turnbuckle Land, baby. Let's get it going, man. We ready to
Let,
roll.
let's get it going indeed. Thursday, the big one, an opportunity. It says here to shock Albuquerque, apparently. Now, is it really a shock if you walk out the Route 66 champion?
I don't know, because I always say that. Like, I seen that too, because, like, I literally just sold out AEW there at Rio Rancho Event Center. I wrestled there and won. So to say to shock the system, like, I'm always okay with that underdog mentality because you know what? If you want to underestimate me, that's your opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's their choice. But I mean, you know me, I know you. You know what I've done in the industry, and I'm literally one opportunity away from becoming one of the biggest stars in the entire planet, in my own opinion. So to sit there and say the underdog, I mean, let the critics and the haters say what they want to say. Let Manny Lemon show up Thursday night and deliver like he always does, baby.
And if you do deliver on Thursday night, like I said, Route 66 Championship, but you are wrestling, obviously, someone who is currently, as of time of recording, an NWA champion as well, in Brian Idol. He's no stranger. He's had some big wins on the NWA scene as well recently. He's had a big war with Billy Silas Mason as well. But going into this and knowing that you're not only facing the Route 66 champion and but you're facing an NWA champion. Does that put a bit, does that dangle more of a carrot in front of you, knowing that you could be beating not only, as you say, you could become a Route 66 champion, but does it kind of put you in a position where you could knock on a certain Billy's door and say, I've just beaten your champion right here, put me on Power, I want to wrestle for his gold on there?
That's always the goal, right? I absolutely, man. I think anytime you're in these positions where you could have an opportunity with a talent like Brian Idol, it's nothing but good things to come from it. You know, there's no secret of what he's done for the industry. You know, carrying the NWA and doing what he's done. Like for me, it's a huge opportunity. But I also take every moment as they come. So obviously, the next moment on my list is this match with Brian Idol. I'm gonna take the moment, enjoy the moment, celebrate the moment, move on to the next. You know, because like every day is a grind. We're always out there hustling, bro. I don't know, like wrestling is my full time gig, and a lot of independent wrestlers cannot say that. And to be tag along of that, I'm a single full time father too, so it's like there's a lot to juggle with that. So what I've bestowed upon my household is we give each day everything we got, and we worry about the next day when it comes. So when this opportunity comes, we're ready for it because we've been preparing 13 years in this industry for opportunities like this to showcase to the world. Yes, Manny Lemons is the guy, and he is the one you guys should all be talking about. If that makes sense.
Definitely so. You mentioned their full-time father. How is that balancing act then? I mean, I know over here in the UK, I'm not saying it's rare over here in the UK to have full-time father, but it's normally the other way around for whatever reason. Like my son, I'm a part-time father, so I see my son of a weekend. So how do you balance that with wrestling full-time as well?
It's always back to like what Triple H said, you know, work life balance, screw it. There's, you know, you give the time with what you got, you know, you do the best with what you have. Obviously, in my situation now where my kid is older, I'm allowed to go on the road. He's 15 now. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's not like he needs dad like every single second of the day. So there's ways we can navigate and move around it. But it's really just being able to operate under chaos because, like, not only a professional wrestler, I'm a business owner. I run a wrestling school, a wrestling promotion here in Utah. So it's like, it's just juggling all sorts of avenues. And the thing is like, it's worrying about the end goal. What are we doing today to make ourselves better for tomorrow? And that's what we focus on. So I don't really put too much thought into like I really like only reason I even bring this up because I sat to myself the other day and said I don't really tell people I'm a single father. Social media has no idea other than the accomplishments I put for my son. So therefore, like to be out there and like say it live for once, like it's not an easy task. But
no.
that's I'm not an easy person. That's why I consider myself to be one of the best talents in the entire world because I can juggle X, Y, and Z plus take care of A, B, and C at the same time. Got to operate under chaos is how I say it.
Yeah,
That's just the
operate.
way it is.
I start using that word, phrase, operate under chaos. That's about that's about right. But look, we're in 2025. Obviously, wrestling has changed in a lot of ways, just in the last 12 to 18 months, really. If you think about Netflix streaming. Now we've heard news that obviously I know it's not NWA related, but a certain big event is going to be broadcast from outside of US territory for the first time next year. How do you see wrestling in 2025? Is it like over here in the UK? I feel like there is so many wrestling promotions out there that I kind of feel a little bit like it's a bit of a saturated stuff because there is just so many. I mean, obviously, in America is a bigger place than the UK. Is it saturated, or is it the fact that there is distant enough distances between it that it kind of evens itself out?
I think with every particular territory you get, there is a lot of saturation. Like particularly being in Utah, like I run Devotion Championship Wrestling in the Al Snow Wrestling Academy here, and I don't really have too much competition because there's really not too much around, if that makes sense. But
Yeah,
like I get 6 hours of Vegas, it's 12 hours of Phoenix, it's 6 hours of Idaho, it's 8 hours to Denver. Like those are my competition, you know. I
yeah,
mean, you get guys that kind of like indie wrestling. You get guys that pop up every now and then, but they don't last because it's not sustainable in a territory that doesn't exist. What I've been doing the last 7 years is elevating Utah to make it a territory where people want to come to. So now you have, when I first started, it was only two companies. Now you have about 6 or 7 companies operating on a monthly basis here in Utah. So the economy is definitely growing. I think as long as you have if your product is sustainable and it's something that fans will always pay to see, I think you'll always have returning customers because again, at the end of the day, without the fans, we're nothing. If we're not giving them something of entertainment, then we're not doing our jobs as professionals. So therefore, if these companies are continuing to give them quality wrestling, whatever, if it's the alternative of WWE, AEW, whatever it may be, because independent wrestling is that for a lot of people, which is great and phenomenal for us. But how do we build that to become bigger, better, and stronger? We just got to keep moving the needle and keep moving forward in that sense.
yeah.
I don't think it's oversaturated. I just think it's kind of both. I think it kind of falls into both. It's again, it's just operating under chaos, even with something similar to that. Yes, it is oversaturated, but how do I make myself, my product, and my promotion different than the other guys? What am I
Yeah,
bringing to the table that's better and making someone like yourself who understands the industry, making you tune in every single week to watch us?
yeah,
That's the
exactly.
search every day.
Yeah, exactly that. And you kind of segued nicely because you mentioned AEW, and obviously we do our research on here. We do a little bit here and there, and I can see, and it's quite interesting because normally when we interview independent wrestlers, and this isn't a hit at all, but they're normally brought in as enhancement talent for AEW. But and you've had those matches, but you've also picked up victories in AEW, a QT Marshall being one of them. Did it kind of, I don't want to say, did it surprise you when they went in and you saw it and it was like you're winning? Was it like, holy shit, I'm winning this? Or is it like I don't know, how is it working over there when you go to someone like an AEW and you find out that you're winning a match?
I think it's always like I think, and people are going to go back and forth. I think the wins and losses are irrelevant to the moments that we can create. For
Hmm.
example, what can I give to the business when these opportunities are presented to me with AEW in Salt Lake City, AEW in Rio Rancho, New Mexico? It was what can I do to help them out? Okay,
Yeah.
let me help them put some bodies in the building. Let me help them sell it out. Between the two venues, bro, as a shoot, I probably sold them 2 to 3 thousand tickets each venue. So like that was a cool thing to do. So it was kind of more of a respect thing out of QT is I'm a product of the Nightmare Factory. I've been trained. I
Hmm.
was trained at the Nightmare Factory in 2020 till 2022. So like I don't like put it on my resume because like I think they more sharpened my tools and gave me the connections and what I needed to do to get to that next level. Things that like
Hmm.
other people couldn't. And that's not a knock on anyone, but it's like that's the thing about wrestling is you're always willing to learn and always willing to get better. Always have an open mind. So, by doing so and just kind of my stay power into the industry, it's allowed me to show that, all right, Manny is a good person and he can help us out. What can he help us out with? Well, let's get he's a good promoter. He can go out there and hustle the crap out of tickets. Let's get him in there. Okay. By doing so, it shows that I have value to the product and the promotion. So therefore, they're going to bring me in. And they took care of me, man. Like I'm blessed that QT is one of the greatest wrestlers, in my opinion, on the planet. And for him to give me that honor to not only get a win in my hometown, but a stadium that I was actually watching wrestling growing up in. Like that's one of the coolest surreal feelings in the world. He was able to give that to me, and I'm forever humble and blessed, and I'll always be loyal to QT Marshall for giving me that moment.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
it's always what can you do for them? What can we do for each other? What can we do for them? Like because
Yeah.
everyone in wrestling is like always like it's always a take. It's like no, we have to get back to this for it to sustain and be bigger. in
Yeah,
my
exactly.
opinion.
No, I agree. I agree. With QT, is he like maybe more underrated than what people realize? Because we don't really see him a lot now. Obviously, there's for whatever reason he was in AEW. There's quite a lot in there at a time. But have we really seen the best of him? Do you think at the minute, or is the best still to come for him?
I really think the best is still to come. And to be honest, the reason why I say that, bro, I've wrestled in every single promotion. I've met every single name I've worked. I took in some too. There is just something about QT where I really would label him the best in the world. I really would. That's my personal opinion. He's the best wrestler I've ever been in the ring with. His timing is impeccable. The way he does it, the way he operates on the fly. There are just things indescribable that he's taught me so much in my career, and I'm forever blessed to have that time with him. So in my opinion, yes, I think he's the most underrated wrestler, and the only reason why he's not at the top is because he is a member of management. It's that always that borderline thing, management wrestler. You know what I'm saying? But to
Yeah.
me, I think that dude should be starring every Monday night, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, he's very. I mean, I've seen him in a lot of matches in my time, and he's fun. As you say, he's a very much a not underutilized. That's probably the wrong word. Underrated talent, that's for sure. But coming back to you now, and obviously we've mentioned it's an NWA territory, Duke City Wrestling, NWA New Mexico. With this, and we've now seen a lot. I mean, this year has been a big sort of, I would say, explosion of NWA territory talent making their way into the NWA. We've seen the likes of Brandon Beretta and Pretty Boy Smooth and Pastor CeeLo and Carson Drake's come up and the guy with the most punchable face in wrestling, as we like to call him on this channel. But
Yeah.
we've seen him. We've seen people like. Does it kind of like? Because you've seen it now and you're seeing it actually this is a territory or these territories are actually a route into the NWA because sometimes not you go to a company and they've got these territories but there's always that sort of ceiling that's there doesn't seem to be that in the NWA. So does it excite you more the fact that hey, these guys are up there, I can get onto NWA?
Oh, dude, absolutely. And any wrestler who says otherwise, I would call him a liar because if our goal is not to be main eventing Monday night, main eventing Tuesday night every single week, then what are we doing this for? It's
Hmm.
exciting to have that and Duke City to give us the opportunity and that platform to, potentially become a NWA superstar. Like that's a huge opportunity. And why would I not want to grasp at that opportunity? Why would any independent wrestlers not want to grasp that opportunity? Because exposure, bro, exposure is money. Contract's one thing, but to have that and to build your name and build your brand, that's longevity for the rest of your life and the rest of your career. So having a platform like NWA to present that, of course, it's a huge opportunity. I'm forever blessed to have that this Thursday night.
Yeah, exactly that. And NWA streaming now on Roku. A little bit controversial in the UK because we have to get it
Yep.
via somewhat uncertain means, a VPN, or in Fiona's case, a VPN that doesn't work, even though it's the same one as mine, which
Yeah.
is quite weird. But they are launching some fast channels over here next month, and we're hoping that the wrestling channel is going to be one of those. But look, it's a massive deal for the NWA to be streaming on Roku and to get that exposure out there in America, in Mexico, and Canada. Is it? I mean, I've only been watching it a few years. Fiona, my co-host, she was the one that introduced me to this year a couple of years ago. She's been watching it forever. But the last few years, I've seen this kind of like what I call a really healthy pattern of growth for the NWA. And it's the littlest things. It can be production, it can be certain things. More recently, it's been kind of like a storyline element to Power. What I felt NWA Power has lacked over the last, years or so was because you could see someone one week and then you may not see them for 6 weeks or something like that. It's just how they take Power. I understand that. But now what they're doing on NWA is they're kind of doing these cut scenes where things are happening and it's building to something. And it's like I said, NWA for me, kind of baby steps in the right direction, but it's becoming far more noticeable now, just as big as just how good NWA has got over these last 12 to 18 months.
Yeah. No, I agree with that because, like I said, like I think everything. If you truly like want something to grow, it takes time to grow, and you can't expect it to happen overnight. I mean, when the pandemic happened, every single wrestling company, every wrestling promotion lost a couple of years off of it.
Yeah.
And so like for NWA to sustain that, survive, and now they're trending in the right direction. Like that's great, not just for myself, but for every single wrestler on the platform because again, it's an opportunity for us to have more exposure, to have more opportunity to get to that ultimate end goal that we want. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, I wrestled EC3 when he was world champion during that run. I wrestled for the title. Like
Yeah.
that was a huge moment, a huge opportunity because the prestigious name of the NWA. Now it's racing. Now my name is tied to that legacy. Okay, well, how do I make my name more tied to the NWA? Okay, well, I got to get in the door and get my foot in there and continue to build my brand. And hopefully one day they make me a major star there. You know what I mean? And then move on to the next adventure. That's just kind of like everything we do, because if we just stay in the same spot, we're in the same results. You know what I'm saying?
How do you make a big name for yourself? You beat Brian Idol this coming Thursday. That's how you do
100%.
it. That's how you do it, right? You beat Brian Idol.
Yeah.
But just want to segue a little bit away from. I'm not saying a bit away from wrestling, but these are questions that I always ask the independent talents on there because I get a variety of different answers. They are random wrestling questions. There's nothing in there that's going to catch you out or anything like that. So the first one is like, if you had to do your top three wrestling theme songs, what would you choose?
But I think the Cody Rhodes song is pretty like catchy, like that
Yeah.
just that's stuck in my head. Cena, obviously, the time is now is probably the go-to of entrance music because every time that comes up, I rise, everyone rises.
Yeah.
Um, man, number three, that's a close one. That's a good one because like The Rock's original music when he came out, the Brahma Bull, that was a good one. Steve Austin's Glass Shatter, I think that has to be up there because every time you hear that glass shatter, it's a can of whoop ass. So
Yeah.
I'd say Austin, Cody, and Cena all had the great entrance musics, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. If you could have a meal with four people in wrestling, doesn't matter who, whether they're wrestlers, whether they're promoters, whether they're, on air talent, who's the three people you would have with you?
I mean, if you asked me that question 4 years ago, it would have been Bischoff, DDP, but I've had dinners and sit downs, and they're good friends of mine now too. But I think it's like what kind of like William Regal was a good one to have, the knowledge from whenever I worked at WWE. Like just he was just a book full of knowledge. So to sit down and just sit there and absorb from him, I'd love to have a night with him just to get more and more out of him because you could just tell he's an encyclopedia of what this industry is. So Triple H would definitely be a good one because I think
Yeah,
Triple H is the leader of the generation. Like I consider myself a leader in my territory. So what can I do to help elevate and create other leaders? Because I think we need more leaders in this, in
mm,
this industry because we want to make it bigger, better, stronger. How do we do that? We need more people leading the charge.
yeah. You got one more. You had Triple
One
H, you had
more.
Bishop, you had Regal, Triple H.
Regal,
Who's
Triple H. It would be Cena. I think Cena, the GOAT, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Well,
Like the dude. I always tell people that it's like Cena carried the WWE when it wasn't cool. You know what I mean? When wrestling wasn't cool, he was the standard. He was there. He allowed us to have what we have today. In my
yeah, no, definitely. So I would have. I've had Bischoff on the show a lot of times, thanks to Fiona. I've had the privilege of having him, but I'd still like to go to dinner with him. Paul Heyman as well. I would
opinion.
like
Yeah,
to
that one
have.
too.
And then I'm torn because I agree with the Triple H one, and he's one of my wrestling heroes. But I would also maybe the Undertaker there. That's
Yeah.
I don't
There's so
know.
many to choose from, bro. To sit there and
Yeah,
hammer it down on three, it's tough. Like when people do the Mount Rushmore, you're like, ah, it's kind of
yeah,
tough.
that is a difficult one. But look, you mentioned about wrestling schools, and going back to that now. You're doing that in Al Snow, as I believe that, which is another big name in
Yeah,
wrestling.
yeah. So we're
To be
partnered up with OVW. We're part of the Al. So the school I own in Utah is the Al Snow Wrestling Academy of Utah. Devotion Championship Wrestling is the actual promotion tied to it, but I also keep like a school of promotion because if people don't want to wrestle there, they can just come get trained or whatnot.
yeah.
Um, like I said, man, I really am just in a mindset where it's like I think we just need to help everyone out. Like I don't need to be the king of Utah and like push and bully everyone around. I really want everyone to elevate at once because if everyone elevates, there's more money in everyone's pocket.
Mm,
So like I mean that's the challenge too. It's like running a school, running a promotion. You're a jack of all trades. Production. You're writing shows. You're producing your skits. You're writing promo. There's so much to
mm,
go into it, man. That it's just like that's like I think when you're a jack of all trades, that's when you're most valuable to the industry because you're not just a wrestler. I can have you agent. I can have you promote. I can have you write. I can do all sorts of things. And that's one of the things I'm blessed for having the opportunity to do it with my school and my promotion because it's allowed me to learn these certain traits and continuing to bring these names in like Bischoff, DDP. We got the Good Brothers. We got so many people that come through Utah now. It's allowing me to grow as a professional too.
mm.
So and that's the challenge, man. It's like trying to change the new generation because a lot of these kids come in, they know everything. So it's like trying to navigate the waters and saying like cool, like it is. If you feel that way, that's your opinion, but this is the way we're doing it, and we're going to elevate the game. And you can join the movement or go somewhere else. There's no hard feelings at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And it is important that the younger generation, especially when you've got the likes of Bischoff, DDP there, and you mentioned the Good Brothers, they've just come back from the UK. They were over here. I had a big LG on a couple of weeks ago, actually, on the show. We was talking about independent promotions because him and Carl Anderson does, well, they do a reality show about
Yeah,
booking an independent promotion. And I know because I have the privilege no, I don't work, I don't like book for an independent, but we have a championship over here, which is defending that promotion, and we get to do that we get to get involved in that kind of thing. So I know bits. I wouldn't proclaim to be a wrestling promoter or anything like that, but I know enough to be able to navigate myself around if I had to do
yeah,
that. But when it comes to that, because you mentioned there about you wanting to grow together and you want to get there, do you find that sometimes there's a resistance over here in the UK? There does seem to be a little bit of like I would say that the bigger guys are kind of throw their weight around a little bit, and you end up losing talent because that phone call has been made, and you know that sort of thing. You have to
yeah,
accept it. I get it, and it is a frustrating thing. But I actually want to say that a lot of it, what you're saying, is kind of what's like in the Welsh scene over here in the UK. So in Wales there is a lot of promotions out there that will not like say come together, but they will, you know, it's one of those things where they'll look at dates, they'll try and make sure they're not wrestling on the same day so that, you know, the usual talents there. Should independent wrestling be more like, let's work together and make this a big place of full of, you know, great promotions and great wrestlers rather than just trying to cherry pick the bigger ones, say, right, you're coming over to me because, you know, so and so is, you know, here and something along those lines.
that's what you run into, bro. I tell people this all the time. There's business and then there's wrestling business, and you
Mm,
have to be smart at both of them. Like
yeah.
you have to understand the wrestling business and understand how it works because like it's completely different. Like the owner of Walmart can't come run a wrestling promotion because they have no idea what to do if that makes sense.
No.
So and it's like trying to explain that to a lot of people because a lot of people that you get into wrestling, it's like a lot of them have money and they think they know what they're doing and they really don't. And that's okay though, but it's also okay to ask for advice and ask for your opinion on
Mm.
things. You know, like I think as long as your product, I can run a show tonight, the same night as another show here is running. I truly believe our product's going to draw and their product's going to draw because if their product's good, our product draws because it's good and it's always people will always we always retain customers because we give them a good service. The other
Yeah.
people, I don't know what to do because that's their business and whatnot. But I feel that there's an audience for us, there's an audience for them, and we're all just a wrestling audience, if that makes sense. So can we all come? I send my schedule to all the promoters here, and I don't like to ever go head to head. Obviously, you get those things where it's like venue issues and you have no choice to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a cripple to either one of us here because I feel like we've invested in the product, we created the product, so therefore the fans are going to show up to see our product. I think a lot of the other guys cherry pick, but I mean, I get it because they just don't know what to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it comes to a point where you have to be the leader and understand. Okay, I need to learn how do I get better and learn that. How do I
Yeah.
learn these things? How do I bring people in the door? Well, sometimes you just got to ask for help. And a lot of people don't want to ask for help. So they let their egos get in the way. And eventually they just kind of go away. And that's
Yeah.
just kind of my honest opinion of what I've seen in the scene. But I think anyone could run any night and there wouldn't be any issue as long as your product is good.
Yeah. No, exactly. I agree with that for sure. But we're going to start wrapping up. But before we get there, hard reset Thursday, NWA New Mexico, your championship match with Brian Idol. What can the fans that go to this show in Albuquerque be looking for? What are they in for at 7 p.m. when that first bell goes off?
I always tell people Albuquerque is my home away from home. I really feel like I the Cena or Hogan of the town, if you want to per se. Like every time I'm there, they've always been receptive. They've always loved me. I've been wrestling there for over 10 years, and Duke is kind of like the promotion that kind of take over from the other promotion. You know what I mean? You know how that goes
Yeah.
with wrestling. And Duke, they've always been great to me. They've always taken care of me, and they've allowed me to have this opportunity to showcase. Look, I am this plus some. You're gonna show up. The game plan this Thursday is to show up, deliver, and win, baby boy. That's the game plan.
That is the game plan, and we'll find out if you are successful. We wish you the best of luck. But Manny, before we go, where can people find you on social media? If you are available for bookings as well, where can they reach out to you to get you on board?
Yeah, social media is the best thing. I'm just at Manny Lemons on Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. It's just Manny Lemons. Obviously, MannyFresh01 at yahoo.com is my direct email. But I mean, you look up my social media as you can send me a text because my phone number is right there anyways because of devotion.
Exactly
So
that.
shoot me a text. Let's make it work.
Indeed, I have a thing there. Freshly squeezed Manny Lemons, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. That sounds like
That's a
Yeah.
dream match that people have been pitching for a long time. I feel like we can make some money off that, but hey, we'll
I
see.
think so. I certainly do. Manny, look, thanks for your time this I was going to say this evening, but this afternoon for you in the US. Coming up on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, I will be talking to Marek Brave, who runs the Black and Brave Academy with the Seth freaking Rollins, which is nice. We're looking forward to that. The man, one half of the new Crockett Cup champions, Odison, will be joining us as well this week when Fiona returns. We're looking forward to that. This coming Sunday, the 21st of September, it is our joint show with Ignite Wrestling over here in the UK. Buckle up free. We've got some of the big names in British wrestling coming down to that. Our championship is on the line as well. We're looking forward to that. And finally, next week on the show, Brian Hebner will be joining us to talk about all things being a referee. So that should be all good. And he's got a podcast too, refereeing it up along with Jimmy Corderas and everybody else. But you can follow us at HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, and all other social media networks. But I'm going to call it from Freshly Squeezed Manny Lemons. I have been your host, Adam Cousins, and we'll see you next time on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Goodbye.